James is having salad and a smoothie made with oat nog. I don't think he's going to end up talking about that, but he thinks he is. He has a container of tomatoes to maybe eat with the salad and the bread. And this is the harvest from my peat bell row. This is the harvest from just 3 Tiny Tim tomato plants on my deck. And that's the lineup for today for reviews. So the bottom of the stack was the monkey, and that's a Stephen King thing, but it's sometimes, I don't know what they're thinking. When they make a short story from Stephen King into a movie, there's just not enough content there
for a whole movie.
And anyway, so I just wanted to show you where this penguin lessons, where I stuck it in with James's music things that we were reviewing, and then I'll take these off. I'm going to review this stuff because I have to water a plant right behind me that's really thirsty, and plus I still have to do James's tomato harvest today. I haven't done it yet, so I'm not going to be here for much of the show. So I don't know, maybe James will talk about the geographical dictionary. So this has Steve Coogan starring in it. So once I saw that, I thought, well, this probably
that
will be
guy's good. I once watched them working together
Excellent
with another
timing.
guy. They were doing Mick Jagger, a variety of other.
He does.
They were improvising. It was food.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It was a very good show.
I can't remember what that. They made a couple of those movies.
Yeah.
So, not only was Steve Coogan an awesome actor in this, very funny. I laughed so many times. But the penguin, awesome actor. So
is that the real penguin on the
It's the real penguin. And he is just excellent. Honestly, I think the director must have been awesome, because when you're working with pets or children, it's tough. And it really shows a good director when they can manage to get the job done with wildlife. So, man, that penguin almost had as much timing as Steve Coogan. So awesome, very funny. Everyone would want to watch that. So, yeah, it's and I'll be talking about directors. Sometimes you expect a lot more from a director. We were watching the Dune. The first movie made of the Dune series, and I hadn't realized I'd watched it back when I was a teenager, when I first started dating my ex, and he was wanting to show me all the things that he thought were great or whatever, and so he got that, and I remember thinking, well, I don't think it was that good or whatever, you know. I think I remember telling him I didn't really care for it that much, but now that I watched it when I'm older, I care for it even less. It's, I expected so much better from David Lynch when I saw that he was responsible for that. I was like, wow, that's really, they poured money into it. You could see the costumes were excellent. They had a lot of special effects and sets, you know, because back then, it was probably less expensive to do elaborate sets and stuff like that than special effects, right? Now it's the other way around. But yeah, we're going to talk about that at a later time. Whew, that was a disaster of a movie. So I was just thinking of that because I was thinking of Sting. Hello? No, thanks.
No, thanks. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
No, he'd be mowing tomatoes because that's really all he had back there.
No grass in the back.
No grass in the back. So I've gotten rid of that all now, and I'm very glad for it. I just have to get rid of the rest of this without the neighbors complaining too much. But we'll see. Right now it's a good amount of grass. I can handle this. I'd like a little less still. I don't like any. But yeah, I was just thinking of the penguin was so much better of an actor than Sting. Sting was, wow, just to say he was terrible would be an understatement. It was incredible how bad he was. So I don't know if David Lynch felt like he had to work with Sting for some reason. Like, did somebody, one of the producers or something like that, say, oh, Sting has to be in it? Oh my gosh, what do you do, right? We'll talk about that at a later time, though.
I'm afraid that it was something like that.
Yeah.
Some producer signed him up.
Yeah,
and then,
that's my guess.
Visited him on David Lynch. Now,
So
David
bad.
Lynch had a really twisted sense of humor, kind of stuff I like.
Mm-hmm.
And I can just see him giving, I almost call him Prince, but Stink. Oh, how could I make a mistake?
Yeah, James kept calling him Stink while we were watching the movie, and he really does stink as an actor. Wow.
Well, I think he's a lifelong communist.
Oh, well, maybe that's why he was in it. I don't know.
That's why
because
I call him Stink. But
it seemed, a little bit like, well, maybe too much of a propaganda film, honestly, given the... But whatever, we're going to do that review later. So, the Djinn, or however you pronounce that.
Djinn.
So, actually pretty good. I know it went down, but there are some reasons for that. So, this is a story about a mute boy who he uses an inhaler, and somehow when, he doesn't say anything, but then when he's coughing or something, it makes noise. And I don't think that a mute boy would make noise when he coughed and stuff like that, because he's mute. I remember having laryngitis really bad as a teenager. Nothing came out. No sound. I was just amazed that nothing would come out. And I think it would be sort of like that.
Maybe.
So, but I don't know.
It's hard to say.
So that kind of, when I heard that, I was like, I don't really believe that so much. And then plus, you get to the end of the movie and you're like, okay, but wasn't he banished? I mean, it's a decent ending and everything it's interesting for what happened, but it doesn't really work that way. So that's why this got that far down. And Midnight in the Switchgrass with Bruce Willis actually wasn't that bad. It's
Bruce
why this got under this one.
Kind of convincing, isn't it?
Yeah. He didn't have a really big role, but the people who did were entertaining enough, whatever. It's a FBI kind of movie. I don't know. I'm more into this than this sort of genre, and plus this is a child actor, and I think he actually did a pretty good job. We're talking about pets and children being tough to work with, right? So the director did a good job with having this child is the star. The movie is nothing without this kid. So I thought that it worked out pretty well that way. It is scary. There's story behind it. It's not just a bunch of scariness and gore and whatever. The special effects are pretty decent. And I mean, it's just set in an apartment, and it's entertaining. So they had a lot more going on. And it's funny because I saw a name at one of the producers. I'm wondering if my nephew is now producing movies, because he was doing something with movies, and I saw his name in another movie, one of those superhero ones. So big stuff, right? And
was that the older of the two? Of your nephews?
Well, no. Sorry, no, I said nephew, and I didn't mean nephew. I meant cousin. He's just younger than me, and so I always thought of him as, you know how that goes. But he's a cousin.
Okay.
Sorry.
I thought, wow, that really happened
No,
quickly.
yeah, because I don't know what the younger one is doing. Honestly, the eldest of the two, he was doing something to do with electrical stuff or something like that.
Anyway, with a name like his, it's not weird. It's just unusual. So
yeah, but no, this one,
be him.
I think he might be producing now. Because I guess this happens. You make enough money in movies, and then you start producing things and whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it kind of made me feel a bit bad because I'm like, okay, here I am making this blog post, these videos that nobody watches. There might be one person who watches this video that I'm making.
But they're important people
doing...
that are watching this.
Yeah. And here my young cousin, so he's younger than me and he's done much more.
Well.
But I think he was one of the producers in this, so if you were, awesome. Good for you. I'm not jealous. I just feel, maybe I should be doing a little more or something. Or
Pauline does a lot. So.
We'll see. But I enjoyed the movie enough. The monkey.
I like the monkey. You know what I'm saying?
The monkey. It's a great
Is it kind of derived from that monkey thing that you find on shoes and other items of apparel and stuff like that? Is it? It looks a bit like him, except it's showing teeth.
This is a scary monkey.
I know. I think Stephen King likes taking stuff that isn't necessarily scary and then turning it into scary.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just there wasn't enough story, and I didn't find the story entertaining enough to warrant me sitting there and watching it.
This comes from a Stephen King fan, or at least a former Stephen King fan. You like the genre.
Yeah. It just wasn't. When I saw Stephen King on the cover, I was like, oh yeah, and it didn't work out that way. That's all. So maybe it was great expectations were responsible for that.
I hope he's still alive.
Yeah.
Most
probably.
people, I hope, are still alive.
Churning the stuff out. So James going to talk to you about something. Don't know what. I'm gonna. No, I'll do the weigh-in later because I'm gonna go harvest James' tomatoes. I'm gonna water this very, very sad plant behind me, and then I'll come back and do the weigh-in. So enjoy that. And if the weigh-in doesn't end up happening on this video, well, that's okay. I'll let you know the next time I do the weigh-in. So I'm going to talk about this oat nog blended with cashews. Awesome. And there's a lot of cane sugar in there, unfortunately. And it's really way too sweet for me. I don't know. How are you finding that smoothie?
Just sweet enough. I got a sweet tooth.
He does. So I put a fair amount of oat nog, and I shouldn't have put as much. Honestly, it's a bit runny, isn't it?
No.
Okay, he likes the consistency. All right. So it's frozen Evans, pitted Evans cherries, canteloupe, the oat nog, and some ground chia seeds to try to thicken it up.
The canteloupe is working like a charm.
Good.
That's what I got to say. That'd be the main sweetening thing. The cherries are good, but they're not that sweet. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, just wanted to review the concert here, finish up reviewing it. I think I did a lot of it, maybe not yesterday, but the day before, somewhere along there. So this is from Gainesville, Florida. And that apparently is where Tom Petty comes from, maybe even where he was born. It's where the University of Florida is, the main campus, if I'm not mistaken. And 30th anniversary, I don't know what that'd be, 2007, probably 2005, 30th anniversary of, I don't know what. Anyway, maybe 2005, 2006, maybe 2000 could be 1977. I thought he started going 76, but maybe there is a year release delay or something like that. Anyway, now I already reviewed the discs 1 and 2, Runnin Down A Dream, a film by Peter Bogdanovich. And that's close to the best music DVD/video I've ever seen. The only competition really that I can think of is Martin Scorsese or something Martin Scorsese worked on, like the Woodstock video is pretty impressive. But Martin Scorsese worked on that. I think he was maybe an assistant director. So that was released in 1970, stuff that was filmed in 1969. Anyway, this comes highly recommended. The disc for the bonus soundtrack isn't that good, but concert's good. Gets some of the songs are a little lengthy towards the end of it. Tom Petty, like most rock and rollers, is better in small doses, and almost all. Bob Dylan's about the only exception I can think of. Maybe I could class Leonard Cohen as a rock and roller because there's kind of something like a rock and roll sensibility there with Leonard Cohen, although he never really rocked out. So let me see. Amazing Journey did review this one. It's quite good as I recall. I don't think there were too many reviewers or what should I call them? Rock critics on that one. The Byrds, a musical documentary. So that Pauline has this listed third, and it's quite short. It's only 6 songs. So definitely don't buy this. You'd be short a little if you're paying the usual price for one of these DVD sets, but if you can get it from a library, it's well worth it. If you care anything about rock and roll, care anything about music with lyrics, stuff like that. So this is stuff from, it looks like the mid-60s. So I'll give you the set list, as it were. Not Fade Away. That's written by Buddy Holly, done most famously, and not infamously, by the Rolling Stones. I think it was on their first album, at least maybe 1964. They actually cut Buddy Holly, the Rolling Stones did. It's hard to cut Buddy Holly. I can think of one other act that cut him, and that was Beatles on Words of Love. Buddy Holly did a great version of the Beatles, especially with their harmonies. Cut him. Hard to cut Buddy Holly. Then the next thing on the menu, as it were, Mr. Tambourine Man. Pretty good version. I think all of these things were actually cut live. Weren't lip synced. Might have missed one of them, but anyway, they do a pretty good job on Mr. Tambourine Man. Of course, it's not quite the same thing as on the. Oh, I should say they didn't cut the Rolling Stones, nor did they cut Buddy Holly. The Byrds, I'm not Byrds. Mr. Tambourine Man. Byrds were well known as being not very good, and that's even by their own admission, not very good. All live, on stage, whatever. And a lot of it initially was due to the bassist. He was a mandolin player. I don't know if he'd ever played bass until he joined the group. Now, mandolin, I think, has 4 strings. Well, doubled up, but as I recall, but bass has 4 strings unless you got one of those fancy 5-string ones. But he eventually became, Chris Hillman, eventually became a very good bassist. I was maybe as early as their third. They usually say the 4th album for the Byrds is when he came into his own. But I think he did a pretty good job on the 3rd album, particularly on 8 Miles High. The drummer was, I don't know, I think he was picked for his looks more than anything else, Michael Clark. And, well, he was picked and then he was picked on, stuff like that. I didn't deserve that. If they didn't like him, they should have got as a drummer, they should have got a better drummer. But Michael Clark, I don't think of it as being a terribly creative force in the creative force in the Byrds. He eventually hung around with Chris Hillman, helped form the Flying Burrito Brothers. Was he in the Desert Rose band with Chris Hillman? I'm not sure. Yeah, Chris Hillman, he had quite a country sensibility. And eventually, Flying Burrito Brothers was with Graham Parsons, pretty well straight country country, some rock thrown in. Even, I think they did at Altamont, maybe it was 6 Days on the Road. The old, who did that song? It wasn't Hank Snow, was it? Anyway, someone, country and western thing. But that song, I think it was that one that the Rolling Stones covered? Something like that. One of their mid-60s albums. They covered a straight, upbeat country song. Of course, they didn't do it in straight country style. They really rocked it up. They could do that with some things. Let me think. So after Mr. Tambourine Man, Chimes of Freedom. Mercifully brief. It's not one of Bob Dylan's better songs. And one of the reasons why it isn't is because it goes on maybe a whole lot too long. And Bob Dylan's versions. The Byrds, as they did with Mr. Tambourine Man, cut it down significantly. You know, Mr. Tambourine Man is worth it all the way through, not so much Chimes of Freedom in the original. So Mr. Tambourine Man, the Byrds just went with chorus, verse, chorus. That's all. And in the original Bob Dylan version, there's many different verses, and of course many choruses to go with those verses. Then the Byrds did an awesome job on fourth cut here, the Bells of Rimney. I don't know. I think that's just a folk song, presumably from Wales. It lists a lot of names from Wales. I get the impression they were mining towns and stuff like that. So Rimney would be one of the places. I try to pronounce some of the places. I'm kind of studying a little bit of Welsh. Maybe not studiously studying it yet, but it, like all the other Celtic languages, it's kind of weird figuring out the pronunciations. Which is strange because they say the Celtic languages are most closely related to the Romance languages, i.e. stuff derived from Latin and stuff derived from Latin. Then turn, and you know, like I've mentioned before, and I'll keep mentioning it. You know, Pete Seeger's my favorite Stalinist. Though he looked pretty innocuous as far as Stalinists go, but he still was a Stalinist. And from what I can tell, he's unregenerate Stalinist up until the day of his death. I've never heard of him actually renouncing his earlier support of the Soviet Union when it was, folks, when it was headed by Joseph Stalin. I'm not making that up. Check it out. And when I see people like Bruce Springsteen doing a whole album of Pete Seeger tunes, they're nice melodies, the lyrics you just don't want to listen to, and what's even worse, you don't even want to think about them because they're so childlike. They're a little bit better. They're much more tuneful, but a little bit like cheerleader chants or stuff like that. And turn is not much of an exception. It has the strength of being taken from, I think it's Ecclesiastes, presumably, putatively by King Solomon of Israel, the third king of the United Kingdom. Israel, way back when. And the Byrds took something that was, I won't say lame, but pretty flat. I've heard Pete Seeger do stuff it's mono, what do they call it? Where there's only one. It's not polyphonic. I guess you'd have to call it something like monophonic, but in a different sort of sense, not as opposed to stereo. Anyway, it's the Byrds throw in the three-part harmony and the jangling guitar. The approach to the guitar is a bit like a banjo. I think Jim, later Roger McGinn, or vice versa. He changed his name based on principles of numerology. 5 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. I'll be able to finish this up. So his approach to the guitar, he played banjo and guitar too, but his approach to the guitar on the Byrds is somewhat banjo-like. And then, so I thought they did a great job with the Bells of Rimini. The sound just sounds like doom. I should refer to that. Run back to the previous song. Turn, turn, turn. Did a pretty good job of that, although it's a lame vehicle. And then the final song is I'll Feel a Whole Lot Better. I wish there'd been I'd have felt a whole lot better if there'd been more songs, and particularly songs by Djinn Clark. So I think I Feel a Whole Lot Better is one of his earlier tunes, and he didn't have many later tunes or even middle tunes because he was gone from the group basically by their 5th album. No, well, it was like 4th album he's basically gone, and the 3rd album I don't know if he was there for all of it, but a major league loss. This is Byrds just bled too much good creative forces, and they just couldn't take the loss of Djinn Clark first and then David Crosby. No, to help fill the gap, Chris Hillman started writing stuff, and a little countryish for my taste, but I don't care. He had a real sense of melody and stuff like that, and of course if you chuck